9/22/20. We got our do now here, so it says to copy and solve each equation. Right? So take a moment, write down each equation, and then solve it by doing things to both sides. Okay, I'm going to go. If you need more time, pause it. So at this point, someone would have said divide both sides by 5. Right? And then 15.5 divided by 5 is 3.1. So we found our solution. We found the value that makes it true, 3.1. 5 times 3.1, 15.5. All right, next one. We got x divided by 5 equals 15.5. Okay. So now what do we do to both sides to get x by itself? Well, right? Divided by 5 equals 15.5. Well, we learned that how do you undo division to get the variable by itself? You use multiplication. And I like to use parentheses for multiplication. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 1 is 5. Or those cancel. And then 15.5 times 5. 5 times 5, that's 2, 7, 2. We got 77.5. Awesome. Great. Any questions about adding, multiplying or dividing both sides to solve for x? No? All right, go ahead and write this one down and solve it. Because we're just adding to our do now here. Okay, so you've written it down. Go ahead and solve it. I'm just kidding with you. Love that. People are still trying. No, stop. Don't keep trying to solve it. This is where we're trying to get to by the end of chapter 1. You may have some experience with this last year, or maybe with a tutor or a camp you've gone to. At the end of this time, this should feel very comfortable with finding the value for x that makes this true. So this is one of our end goals, so you can solve more complex equations with x. Okay, I gave it to you because I knew it was going to be kind of hard. So we're still starting slow, beginning of the year. We're getting our minds ready. So today is 1.4, and you should have done this in 7th grade, but I know it's been a while. We're going to solve multi-step equations, so more than one-step equations. Okay? So today we'll be solving equations by doing more than one operation. Yesterday, and for homework, you only had to do one operation to both sides to solve the equation to find the value that makes the equation true. Today, we're going to have to do more than one. We're going to have to add and then divide, or divide then multiply. We're going to see, we have to combine, we're going to have more than one operation that we have to undo. Okay? So, take a look at number 1. We're going to solve this equation. You can pause me at any time. It's always nice to read the equations too first. So go ahead and read it. 10 equals 4 times x plus 26. Okay. So here is x. We're trying to figure out 4 times what plus 26 will get us 10. And you could play around with numbers, but it's better if we start in maybe a more organized way. Better is not really the word, but we have a more organized way to get it. We could guess and check. It would just take longer, but if we just do things to both sides, undo operations, we'll be set. Okay, so we have to undo the times 4 and the 26. Okay, plus 26. What do you think we should do? Good. So your teachers last year said, unless you're dealing with some parentheses, we actually want to undo any addition or subtraction first, right? Go the bottom of the orders of operations and undo those first. So we're going to take away 26 from both sides. And that cancels that out. And now 10 minus 26 is negative 16, which will equal 4x, because 26 take away 26 is 0. Now, this is why it's a multi-step. One more thing. How do we undo this times 4? We divide by 4 because they cancel out. Perfect. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we get a 1x, or in this case a 1. And negative 16 divided by 4. A negative divided by positive is a negative. What's up, guys? You're not getting snacks and stuff. Don't do it.
Why?
Because we're going to eat dinner soon. Okay? Okay, that's fine. He had Oreos and stuff just 10 minutes ago, so no, he can't have it. Okay?
Can I have something?
You had your second bar like an hour ago, so no, you gotta wait. Okay?
Okay.
Unless you want to get some Cheerios, that's the only thing you can get.
No, you can get anything.
Well, Declan can have some Cheerios, yeah.
Okay. Sit down for snack time, okay? I'll get
All right, sorry, we're back. Hopefully you just fast forward that part. So, next equation, always good to read it. We have x divided by 5 minus 10 equals negative 16. Okay. What operations do we have to undo? That's what we want to think about. Okay. What's happening to x? Okay, so we have to undo division and undo subtraction. What do you want to do to both sides first to undo it? Well, what we're going to do is try to undo this lower operation, which is subtraction. So we add 10 to both sides. We get x over 5 equals negative 16 plus 10. You're 16 negatives, or you're at negative 16, and you go up 10, you're going to end at negative 6. Cool? All right, we have x over 5 equals negative 6. How do we undo dividing by 5? At this point, you should be good because I made all the examples multiplied by 5. Boom. We found our answer. We found the solution. We found the thing that makes it true. So, recap, we added 10, divide both sides by 5. And there we go. We find out that it's -30. Okay. All right, I think there's 4 more. Yes, okay. So take a moment, write this one down. Okay, this one's a little different. It says 4x plus 3x plus 10 is 45. Now this one's weird. This one's different. Why is this one different? Well, it's different because we have 2 things with x in them. We have 4x and 3x. Now, depending on where you got to last year, you should be cool with this. But before we do things to both sides, we can simplify this side a little bit. Your teachers last year should have talked to you about that. We can simplify first. Does anyone know a way we can simplify 4x and 3x? Do you? Who's listening? Oh yeah, well 4x plus 3x. If they have like terms, you can say 7x. And bring down the 10. And bring down the 45, right? Cool. So we simplified if we can. That's what your teachers last year should have talked about. And we look for any like terms. And 4x plus 3x, 7x. We can rewrite it like that. 4 things plus 3 things is 7 things. Great. Now we're back to a step where we can do things to both sides. So we have 7 times x plus 10 equals 45. What we are going to do is undo the lower operation. So we're going to undo the plus 10 from both sides. And we sometimes try to save division for last, and this time we are as well. Divide both sides by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1, so we're left with just 1x. 35 divided by 7 is 5. So we solve that equation by first simplifying, taking away 10 divided by 7. Okay, so this should still feel like review. This is stuff you've covered up to this point, I imagine. Okay, number 4. Take a moment, write it down. Okay. So we don't have any like terms. We have 2/3 x plus 7 equals 10. There's no values of x on the same side, so we can't do anything with that. But, well, can we get x by itself? Well, yeah, we can undo this 7 by taking away 7 from both sides. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. No need to write it down. All right, we have 2/3 times x equals 3. 2/3 times x equals 3. So, that's easy. Like, what if it was 2, right? If it was 2 times x, we would just divide both sides by 2. Sweet. So, because we're multiplying by 2/3, we're just going to divide both sides by 2/3. Right? 2/3 divided by itself is 1. Sweet. And we get x equals 3 over 2 over 3. Yeah. Shoot. That's the answer, but it's really wacky. And well, this is really division, right? So let me write it a different way. Instead of 3 over 2/3, let me write it as 3 divided by 2/3, like that. Sweet, now you get it, right? Still no? I bet you never divide by a fraction. I bet your teachers never, ever, 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 you never learned how to divide by a fraction. I don't know if I did, to be honest. They probably didn't even show me a chance to do it. Maybe with cupcakes or something, or brownies. Yes, so somebody in class would say, yeah, you don't divide by fractions because it's much easier if you write the equivalent, right? You might have seen the acronym KCF, or keep, change, flip, right? So we'll keep the 3. 3 divided by 2/3 is the same thing as 3 times the reciprocal. And that's what I mean, you actually never divided by a fraction. You change the problem into a multiplication problem. And it's much easier to do 3 over 1 times 3 over 2. You get 9 over 2. And there you go. There's your fraction. Okay. So, dividing by 2/3 is what we're supposed to do, right? But when you divide by a fraction, you actually never do it. You do multiply by the reciprocal. So, I want to show you another example. And there is actually a shortcut. Maybe some of your teachers told you last year. So go ahead and write number 5. Very similar. We have 4/5 x plus 20 equals 40. We're going to take 20 away from both sides. you get 4 over 5x equals 20. And now we're stuck at that same idea where we have to undo 4/5 times x. So we're going to undo this by dividing both sides by 4/5. That will get x alone. And now we have the problem 20 divided by 4/5. But we're going to actually multiply by the reciprocal. So 20 times keep, change, flip by fourths. And you just put over 1, you get x equals 100 over 4, which is 25. Cool. It's really not bad. You can divide by the 4/5 to get rid of it. And then you just write it like this and it's multiplied by the reciprocal. You did that in 5th grade and 6th grade, I guarantee it. And maybe even in 7th grade. Okay, last one before I set you off on your own to do some classwork and homework. Okay. Okay, sorry, I got distracted by my kids yelling. You probably hear them. So this is the first time we actually have a parentheses in a problem, the equation that we're trying to solve. So 9 equals 2 times the sum of x and 2. Okay. So let's see. Did anyone have a thought? Before we start doing things to both sides, we talked about simplifying in number 3. What do you think? Can we simplify this one? If you have a number outside the parentheses, there's a property we can use to make it a little simpler. Yeah, exactly. Distributive property. So we're going to distribute the 2. You get 9 equals 2x plus 4. It's 2 times x and 2 times 2. So we're there. And now, just by doing the distributive property, we can start solving it like we've been doing. So we'll take away 4 from both sides. 5 equals 2x. And we'll undo the 2 by dividing both sides by 2. And we get x equals 2.5. There we go. So I just want to remind you, if you have parentheses, we're going to do the distributive property to solve. Okay, so your classwork, we're going to use the rest of the time for, is here. Let me double check. And whatever you don't finish for classwork is for homework, all right? I want to walk around, use this time to check in on you, see how you're solving equations using what we did, okay? So you're going to start this in class. You're going to finish it for homework. I don't care if you check your answers. What I want you to make sure you do is show your work, okay? I want to see the steps, okay? So write down number 1. Do the steps, get the answer. Again, the answers are here, so you can check your answer as you go. But I need to see work. I want to watch you solve equations. Okay? All right. We'll go over any questions we have in the next class if you're there live. But other than that, I'll see you on the next video.